Okay, hi everyone. I hope you've been enjoying all the lessons so far. If you've gotten this far, well done. Today might be a bit of a long-ish lesson. I'm going to do a few different examples of how you can put these chords in context, but it should be a pretty simple one because we're just sort of recapping. And the last few lessons we've looked at sus chords, sus2 and sus4 chords in different positions. Previously we've looked at where you find sixths and sevenths and major sevenths. And today's lesson is basically to go right back to the start. And I think it was lesson 2 where I just said play a bar and use your other fingers to just explore. Except now we can explore kind of already knowing what chords sound good and why they sound good and what their relationships are. So just from strumming a chord, C-shaped bar chord, and now I can explore all the notes that I've already played. All the different sort of chords are telling me the notes that are going to sound good in this shape. And when I change to an F shape, for instance, you're still just exploring, you're just playing around, but mainly you're going to use your little finger a lot because that's the only one that's kind of free. I'm holding an F-shaped chord at this time. But sometimes letting fingers go, placing them in spots which are the chords that we've already looked at. And to do the same with an A shape. I'm just messing around. I don't know what I'm doing really here, except just to show you to play with stuff. And for instance, there's going to be lots of times where you might be playing a really simple pattern that just holds the same chord for quite a long time. So even so many songs are just based around a 12-bar kind of pattern where you, let's say I'm in G, and then I'll go to C, and D. So really easy chords, and it might just go like this. So I'm pretty sure you've heard heaps. You could already guess exactly where I was going to go with the chord changes. It's really familiar. It's not. I'm not going to say it's boring, but it's kind of bland. It's really straight. Obviously, there's usually a melody being sung over the top of that, but rhythm-wise and chord-wise, there's not much happening, and so it's actually really fun to just sometimes throw in, I'm still just playing the G, this is the same pattern. I'm just messing around with sus chords, and what was that one? It was the major seventh to the seventh, 6 chords, minor, relative minors, all of that sort of stuff. Just throwing them in, even if the music just says play a G, you can do that, but you could also play a G and embellish it with some of these new chords that you now know. And some songs just do this. What's a good example? G with a sus2 and a sus4. So major chord, sus2, sus4, and it just does that same pattern and just changes. You might recognise the melody. goes to C, and G, and then D. I think it's called The Walls Come Down. I think it's by The Call or something. There's just that da 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 da. There's a melody that goes through it. But it's basically just sus chords added to a really basic chord shape, chord pattern. So yeah, there's my recommendation, is to, in all your normal, regular playing, even with basic chords, even with open chords, but of course now you know how to do it with bar-shaped chords as well, is to find ways to embellish the chords you're playing by throwing in the sus chords, sixths, any of those chords, sevenths, any of that, you can add and embellish while you're still sort of maintaining the basic shape. And it'll just give you lots of opportunities to explore and spice things up. And now you're strengthening your hand and fingers again, and your muscle memory of remembering where these places are, just by playing some basic chord patterns, learning where the chord changes are in different shapes, and playing around with the little minor variations. Alrighty. So there you go. That's kind of the end of that lesson. But I'll throw in some examples as well following this.